to get G Thing on the radio, you had to play certain games in order to get people to hear the song, because radio refused to play the record. They gave you a lot of resistance.
There's no reason in the world this is not being played everywhere in the world, all times, every day. It was so powerful. So I just said, so I got my radio people said, man, they're not going to play this. They don't like the way they look. Forget about the way they sound. They're not going to play this. They represent too much violence, too much. I said, this is all nonsense. So did Elvis Presley. So did the Stones. I said, this is the oldest song in the world. This is too edgy for today, you know? So I said, let's try something. I went to my promotion people and I said, let's try something. Could we buy radio ads? They said yes. So we bought radio ads. I said, but on this radio ad, don't say anything. Just buy a minute of music and play a minute of the song. Give me 35 to 40 radio stations, and maybe at the end they said G Thing, Dr. Dre, you know, something like that. So what happened was when they started playing it, they started getting requests on the commercials.
And you were buying pop stations. You were buying stations.
Yes. And
wow.
I wanted the programmers when they would drive. I bought it during drive time because I wanted the programs to hear it when they were in their car driving home.
Wow.
So because then they would hear it in their context.
Yeah.
And it really worked. It exploded.
When did you realize that it was selling outside of the urban hip-hop niche and it was started to spread to kids who like rock and roll, to different zip codes and areas around suburban America? I
had met Russell Simmons a long time ago, you know, not a long time ago, 1987, it is a long time ago. And what they did, and Lior, and they had Public Enemy opened up for U2, and I saw the reaction there. And I started to see this thing taking hold in the very hip white community.
And you started seeing it in sales.
Yeah.
Now, MTV, very similar story, where you spoke to MTV and you asked them to play Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre right after certain rock videos because you felt it was a very similar audience. So you started to define the kid that would accept hip-hop and also like rock music.
Well, I didn't think as far as the kid. I really didn't. What I thought about is what the music deserved. I don't think the music should be ghettoized. So I went to Rick Krim up. He was the program director at MTV. I walked in his office. Interscope was a very young company. I said, Rick, you know, I've been doing this a long time. I come purely from the rock business, right? You know, whether it was U2 or Tom Petty, you know, I come from that business, right? And I'm like, you have to play this during the day. So he picks up his remote control, and from over his head backwards, he hits the remote control. He says, this is what we play during the day. And he hits it, and there's an SWV video on, or, you know, some pop video, right? I said, but you do play Guns N' Roses. I said, do me a favor, play this after Guns N' Roses and watch what happens. I said, if it doesn't work, I will never bother you about another Interscope record ever again.
What's amazing is you fast forward that story and, you know, all the rock acts started getting upset that all the hip hop acts started getting the expensive videos.
Well, you know,
8 years later.
Well, what happened was, again, you know, hip hop was really, you know, you have real pioneers in this thing. You know, I'm not a pioneer of hip hop. I just saw it and I said, this thing is incredible, and these people are incredible, and they should be exposed to all over the world.